What's funny is he locked himself in his room after that. The house manager, and I was like, hey bro, I'm not mad at this guy, he did what he was supposed to do, you know what I mean? And, so I got kicked out of the Oxford house and I called Blake Beckner. And, you know, I put out a joint too called Blake Beckner. And, I was like, hey man, I just got kicked out of an Oxford house. I said, I really wanna do this thing, man. I said, but I don't know how.
And now, how did you hear about Blake's house?
The dude who kicked me out of the Oxford house gave me a sheet of sober houses to call. He's dead now, R.I.P. to that dude.
Oh wow.
You know what I mean? But he and I don't know if Blake's was the first name on the list. I don't know. You know what I mean? I really wanted to find a beach overlooking house like what you said. Like, they got those, you know? But so I called Blake, man, and praise God Blake Beckner answers because now I know him now. You know, it's hard to get that man on the phone, maybe through text message, but he answered the phone, man, and you know, hello. I said, hey man, I really want to do this thing. I said, I don't know how. You know, I said, I'm on my mom's couch right now. I just got kicked out of an Oxford house. He said, what'd you get kicked out for? I said, I was smoking weed. He said, well, you can't do that here. He said, when's the last time you get high? I said, I just put a joint out to call you. He said, well, you can't smoke here. I'll give you 10 days. And I moved in, and I actually smoked the first day I was in Better Together Recovery. It took me, it took me like half a year to say that because Blake ended up telling me, you know, this is after I was a house manager for him, and some other dude was lying about some shit, and he was like, hey man, that lie might get him high one day. And so 6 months down the road, I changed my sober date. You know what I mean?
Nice.
I was like, hey, I was saying it was August 25th, but it was not August 25th. And, you know, man, just like anything else, like I said, I excel in structured environments. Today, I'm still in Better Together Recovery. I've been managing a house for Blake Beckner for over 2.5 years now.
So when you manage a house, do you live in the house?
Yes, I live in the house. And you know, I see a lot of guys come and go, man. I've seen houses flip, you know, about 4 or 5 times, man. And like I said, I'm really trying to do things right nowadays. I don't do anything without talking to wise counsel around me. No decision goes uncounseled,
Oh,
I guess you could say. You know what I mean? Like, if I have an idea, I make sure it gets filtered. You know, make sure it goes through a lot of other people before I move. And that's the reason why I haven't moved out yet. You know, I am engaged to a beautiful woman, a woman of God. You know what I mean? And we want to do things the right way. I could have moved in with her a long time ago, but you know, that's not how the big homie Jesus wants. So, you know, I try to do that thing. I try to be as obedient as I can. You know, I still fail at that a lot of times. You know, but it's like I said, I want to go back to the sober living, man, because it's that structured environment, and I want to go back to all the institutions. Even those are the only places in my life that I've found love that I have today. You know, I would go to these places, the juvenile detention center, the group home, TRC, prison, rehabs. Every time I would go to these places, I would find people that I would love, and it'd be the best experience in my life. You know, but there was always a release date. You know, and I look forward to that every time. You know, and your family looks forward to that kind of stuff too. But I tell guys this all the time, man, if you don't have a plan when you leave those places, you know, you go to your family's house and you're on the couch again or whatever, and your family is willing and accepting to bring you back. They love you, you know, they're happy that you're out of this place. They think that you're cured, you know, and then you start asking for rides. You know, you drink all the milk, you leave the toilet seat up.
Sleeping in too late.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You have some Sally come over to mom's house. Within 2 weeks, they're ready to have you out of there.
Very
You know.
good.
Yeah, well, yeah, but, so I needed something, like these places that I had to go to. And,
They hold you accountable.
yeah, and that's it right there.
Structure
Yeah.
with freedom.
Yeah, it's the accountability, man. So my life is fantastic today, but that's only because I have people that will hold me accountable. I've got my son. You know, my son is actually sitting on the couch while I'm talking about this podcast. And, you know, he knows about old dad. I've had him for almost half a year now. It's very, very huge blessing in my life to have my son, because like I explained earlier in the story, you know, I mean, I was fatherless. I didn't have a man in my life, you know what I mean? And my son's actually going through a little bit of trouble, and you know, he's in the same age as I was when I started getting in trouble, but I didn't have anybody there for me. You know what I mean? He does. You know, there's some talks right now, and some things working. It's possible. So if there's anybody that prays listening to this podcast, you know, I might be getting my daughter. And like I said, that's might. I don't know. It's like I said, nothing goes unplanned or without wise counsel, like I talk about. So that's something that's definitely in the works. I plan on getting married in June. We don't have an actual date. You know what I mean? But I don't know what that looks like. God's definitely gonna have to make some things happen in between there. So hopefully it helps for him. I sell roofs.
That'll probably happen.
Yeah,
For sure.
But yeah, man. So I think I'll leave it off with one more story if we can.
Yeah, just be thinking also, so we like to ask what would be your question for the next guest too. You're more than welcome to share that story if you want, but you know Tara.
Tara, is that Cassidy?
That's on the 21st.
21st. So
Next week's
It
Ryan
shouldn't
Davis.
matter who
Yeah.
specifically
Yeah.
the guest is, it's just whoever the next guest is, the question that you carry on to them to answer.
And did we already ask him the question that, do y'all remember the question?
I think my question would be
Yeah,
what
it
should,
was the last criticism and were they right?
Okay, well, what?
I think my question would be what should why?
Okay, that's good. I like that.
Yeah. But I want to talk about, you know, when I was in prison, I worked out with this dude who was in the military, and you know, he was structured, he was disciplined, you know, and I remember going on a writ, and I came back and I got a blessing, you know, like I ended up, I think I signed for like 8 years, was 4 in, 4 out. So, you know, 4 years in prison, that's not that long. I think I did 2 years in prison, which is a long 4 years, to be honest with you. Thanks to, you know, prison messed me around pretty tough for on a situation. That's a different story. But this guy, man, when I got back, I told him, I said, look, man, I'm kind of scared. I said, I don't know what I'm going to do when I get out of prison. I said, you know, I'm not going to lie, I kind of like it here, you know. And I explained it to him. I said, look, man, I feel like I'm like a dog on a leash. I said, you know, when you put your dog in the backyard, if there's a trash can in the backyard, it's gonna go straight to that trash can every time. You know what I mean? I don't care how well your dog's trained. If you put a dog in the backyard and let him do his thing by himself, he's going to the trash can. And that's how I felt like when I had a release date. You know, I said, even, you know, like right now, I feel like a dog with a chain on in prison. I said, I just have that chain on me, but as soon as you take that chain off, I'm going to the trash can. And he looked at me, he was like, so why take the chain off? And I was like, what do you mean, man? I'm not trying to take.
I'm not trying to be deep.
Well, no, I'm not trying to like be connected to the government for the rest of my life. I mean, I don't want to have to take pisses for a PO forever. He said, why's it gotta be probation, man? I said, why don't you find yourself an accountability group? And lo and behold, I didn't know that would be places like Better Together Recovery and things like that. You know what I mean? But that made a lot of sense to me, man. You know what I mean? Like, because as long as you have that, as long as you got that chain on, you're not gonna go to the trash can. You know what I mean?
The chain is trusting yourself.
Yeah. Well, there's links, you know, there's links in change. You know what I mean? What's your link? What are you linked to? You know? make sure you don't take your chain off.
So what was the question for Josh?
Yes.
What was your last criticism and were they right?
What was my last criticism?
Yeah,
And were they right?
This was
Yeah,
supposed to be told to you.
my last criticism, basically I was just labeled as a piece of shit, and yeah, they were definitely right.
When was
You know what I
this?
mean? Or well, actually, I guess you'd say like if it's recent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your
You know
last,
what I mean?
like the one, whatever you can think of most recently.
Oh, if it's recent, then you know what I mean. I think you would hear from people. Probably one of the most kind hard cats around.
I think I criticized you the other day.
Huh?
I criticized you the other day.
Yeah. You know what I mean. I just try to mirror the big homie Jesus. You know what I mean? And if anybody could criticize me like that, then that's the biggest compliment I could get in the world. You know what I mean? Jesus was a gangster. He
Wait, what was the
disrespected.
criticism?
No, I guess we just kind.
That wasn't criticism.
That's not criticism.
No.
That you're kind?
What? So criticism is bad?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's gotta be bad.
Well, it,
Like you're fucking up, you're not making your bed right, you're
Somebody accused you of being a bad father recently, or
not
Yeah.
holding yourself accountable, you're lazy, you're scared, you're.
I guess you
things.
if there was one, it would probably be at my job. You know what I mean? It would be at my job. Right when I got my son, you know what I mean? I entered a whole new world of adulting, and I started slacking on a couple of my jobs with a coworker of mine, and I'm really happy that he opened up my eyes to some things, and we did some. He called me, you know what I mean, and we hashed it out. It was a cool deal. So yeah.
So what was your criticism that you
it's
just
good.
gave
It's
him?
good criticism. It wasn't bad criticism.
Well, yeah, I mean, I thought you could have. I mean, I guess
I thought it was
criticism is a bad thing. Yeah, you mean?
You
I'm definitely not a hoe. What? You're
Are you
crazy.
scared of now that you're gonna get married and then maybe you're not gonna have chiefs to come up to be like, help me filter my thoughts?
Oh, never. No, absolutely not. I've got.
I think that's another link to that chain.
Yeah. You know what I mean? As long as, like I said, as long as I keep my my chain on, I'm gonna be bossed up. You know what I mean? I've got spiritual giants in my links. For sure.
Oh, yeah, well, you wanna go and close it up?
Yeah.
I just want to say too, I really appreciate you guys. Like I said,
No,
I
thanks
love
for coming
I
out.
love each and every person, every soul in this room. Brittany, I don't know you that well, but
That's fine, we
You know,
can love each other.
it's nice to meet you, Chris.
Josh, you made a really big difference in my life. You were one of the first people I met
I appreciate that.
in my recovery outside of prison. And you kind of want, like, when I say you're one of the first people, like, besides the two things I did right when I got out of prison and whenever I met you and I just seen the light in your eyes, kind of turned on the light in my head and made me
Man, I
think a
appreciate
little harder.
that, bro. And I see, like I said, I see you're working hard, bro. You know what I mean? You're consistent with the things that you do in your life. That's something that, I try to, I've got a lot of things going on in my life and I try to stay consistent in them. And it's not easy, bro. So I'm proud of you for that. Brooks?
I'll say you're one of the first people I met when I got a job down here in Oklahoma City, man. I still work there, but when you worked at BP. so-
Yeah, man. We had a lot of fun times there,
Yeah,
bro.
that was good, man.
Yeah, I got a lot of respect for you, brother.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate you a lot. I love you. Nemo, I can't. I can sit here and
Just
talk. Yeah, I can sit here and talk a lot about Nemo, man. Like, I tell people I look up to him. Really, I look down to him. I really do look up to this guy, man. He talks about his goals. He talks about making that goal list, man. And I've never seen somebody so dedicated and disciplined to do these things and scratch these things off. You know what I mean? It makes me envious. Envious isn't a bad word. You know what I mean? And
Can't be.
it's not.
If-
You know what I mean?
To the
God's
extreme.
work it is.
I think jealous is a bad word. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you know what I mean? It makes
I
me.
think it's one of the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Oh, well, there you go.
You are merely
Hey.
mortal.
Yeah.
Josh, man, I love you, bro.
I love you too, bro.
That's no diddy.
No diddy.
No diddy, no diddy.
That's all did.
Man, I hope y'all did a good job on y'all's podcast.
It was great.
And I hope maybe y'all invite me one time, maybe next time we'll talk a little bit more.
We'd
about
like to
the
do the
Riverside.
follow-up, so yeah,
Okay.
we can get into
Okay.
more of how it was next
And
time.
just so we're clear, we asked the question at the beginning, and then the question that we have for them, we asked that in the beginning.
They're technically supposed to have it a week,
Like a week ahead of time.
so they can be thinking about it. So
Yeah.
I don't know whose job
Hey,
that was.
we need to get on that.
That's why I said scheduling and like stuff like that matters.
We're gonna get better, y'all.
Hey, I was just happy to,
This
you
is
know what, I was
beginning.
just happy.
This is not your
Oh,
fault,
sorry.
yes.
Yeah, that's all right. Look, I was just happy to, cause I've heard some of the other podcasts, so I was happy that I was gonna be able to tell some of my stories.
All right.
You know what I
Everyone's
mean?
happy for you to
Yeah,
come
you're
on.
definitely coming back.
Yeah.
All right, guys, this has been around the block of Brooke Southern.
Chris Ross.
Been around the block.
Nemo.
It's Joshua
Brown.
signing out. Signing out, it's Josh.
All right.
Signing off.
Later.
Bye. Brooks is running.
Ah.